Hi, my name is Tom, and I was recently transplanted from Philadelphia to Seattle. Nazis have been in the news a lot lately, and I'd like to weigh in for a moment about those bastards, if I may. I'm not talking about neo Nazis or the alt right. I'm talking about a much more sinister group physical therapists. Now, if you're a physical therapist, I apologize. But you are a Nazi. Last week, my doctor told me to stop wearing the removable splints on my broken arms and recommended that I start going to PT. I immediately broke into a sweat and started experiencing flashbacks that would have scared the living out of Vietnam vets. I pleaded my case, and he has given me a 2-week stay of execution. You see, I have an exceptional threshold for pain. When I fell off the ladder, I didn't whine or whimper. In fact, when my wife asked if I was okay, I simply replied, "Yeah, I just broke both my arms." That confused her a bit. "You sound kind of calm," she said. "Are you sure you've broken them?" "Yep, pretty sure." And I showed her that my forearms now had elbows in them. In hindsight, that was probably too shocking because she let out a scream and then ran in the house to call for help. Unfortunately, she also slammed the door behind her and left me sitting on the front step, unable to open the door, sweating in the 95-degree heat. The point is, my pain threshold is exceptionally high. I particularly credit my divorce for helping with that, but even before my divorce, I was able to withstand more than my fair share of discomfort. The first time I broke my arm, I was in a motorcycle accident. Some kid with 2 weeks of driving experience slammed on his brakes in the middle of the street for no apparent reason. Come to think of it, he may be one of the drivers that I now suffer behind on the Seattle freeways. If you don't know what I'm talking about, see my traffic rant video on my channel. Anyway, my bike went under his car and I went over. I got up off the ground, walked behind his vehicle, and picked up my 400-pound bike. At that point, I noticed that the bone in my right arm was starting to poke through the skin. I think my comment at the time was, "Wow, that's going to leave a mark." And if you saw my video on medical advancements, you'd know that it did, with plates, screws, and pins. When the cast came off some months later, the doctor sent me to the aforementioned Nazi therapists for rehab. I believed in the adage, no pain, no gain. I realized that the only way I was going to regain the use of my arm was to start moving it again. But these moved it in such unnatural ways that it would have been excruciating on a healthy arm, let alone one recovering from a compound fracture. I'm talking pain that would have brought a tear to a glass eye. I mean, I confess to I didn't even do anything to make them stop. Now, I'm sure that they get their fair share of whiny snowflakes that immediately want to retreat into their safe zones, but I'm not one of them. When I told them that God didn't design my arm to bend that way, I expected a momentary pause and consideration for the veracity of my statement. But they didn't even blink an eye, glass or otherwise. Think about it. What kind of sadistic goes into a profession whose sole objective is to hurt people in order to, quote, make them better? No, thank you, Adolf. I've got another week before I report back to my physician. I'll just look up recovery exercises on YouTube and humanely hurt myself if you don't mind.